Hello and welcome to the Manifest to Live Life Golden Show. I am Golden Duffy. I'm going to present today season 2, episode 8, Embracing the Body You Have so you can manifest the body you want. This is a great conversation that I have really done a lot of processing on, and I'm happy to share what has come through for me and how I've created more joy in my life to be in the body that I most want to be in. There is so much that goes along with this conversation that has to do with your childhood, that has to do with the programmings that you grew up with, that have to do with if you're listening to the Shitty Committee. All of these things come into play when we are presenting in our physical body, because everything that's happening in our physical body is happening because of the signal that we're sending to it. So we have to start with the signal first and recognizing in what ways we have been projecting a physical body that doesn't line up with the body that we are most interested in having. That some things need to be let go of, some things need to be added, some things need to be interrupted. There's a lot that goes along with this. So I'm really excited to be with you guys today. The podcast is something that I'm going to hold dear and near to my heart, but there is so much going on right now that I don't actually know if it's going to keep going. I may have to just share my Golden Hour episodes over. If you haven't watched the Golden Hour yet, I would highly recommend it. It's on e360tv.com. Look for Achieve TV. That's my network, and you'll find the Golden Hour. I'm presenting incredible information there, and I have guests, and I have the most incredible lineup for guests that I am so excited to share with you guys that are going to help you to expand and grow and to come into new ways of consciousness. There's a lot going on. The energy field is really ripe for opportunities, and I am ready to receive. These were manifestations that I asked for. And now it's about, letting go of the things that don't really make sense for me anymore. So I'm here now. That's all that matters. And if you really want to hear more about this subject and all other subjects that have to do with actually creating your own reality, hop over to the Golden Hour. I go live on Tuesdays, live on Thursdays, but all the shows are archived, so you can watch them. And you can go to my YouTube channel where it says live, and they're all right there. If you don't have E360 or you don't want to go looking for it, you can find it there. So I'm super excited today. There's a lot of excited energy going on, and the conversation around the body really has to do with a lot of the energy that you're promoting every single day. So if every single day you wake up in your physical body and you don't feel well, your body doesn't feel well, you feel tired, you have pain, you feel fat, you feel bloated, whatever it is, been there, lived it, totally understand it. If that's what's happening to you, I want you to understand that you've got signals. There's signals going on that are bringing all of this stuff to you. And you may have been diagnosed with things. And the problem with diagnosis is it doesn't counter for the fact, it doesn't bring in the fact that your body is this amazing, miraculous healing machine. So you may not have grown up realizing that you have the potential to heal yourself. If you follow Dr. Joe Dispenza, he's doing lots of work on this and healing our actual bodies through meditation, through intention, through identifying with a new way of being, where we're not sending the signal to the pain every day, where we're not sending the signal to this diagnosis and believing that that's the identity of who we are. I know lots of people who have been diagnosed with things like Lyme disease, Hashimoto's, autoimmune things that feel incredibly powerless. And if you are there and that's the way you feel about your disease right now, that you are powerless against it, I'm glad you're here. And I hope, my intention is that you are open to receive the information that I'm about to give you so you can understand that your body is a miraculously healing machine and that your cells are regenerating all the time. So there is nothing. The only reason why we experience symptoms over and over again is because of the programming and the mapping that's happened through our belief in this diagnosis, the signal that we are sending to it. Once you start to get out of the problem so much, you can start actually manifesting solutions to what you have been experiencing. Now, if you've tried everything on this physical situation, if you've tried everything and you feel like there's nothing left to try, or maybe you're trying another thing right now and you feel like this is going to be the thing. If you're doing it from the energy of the problem, you will consistently keep attracting the problem. Unless you go deeper, unless you heal some wounds, unless you heal the energetic and emotional body that has created this situation for you, you're really just on the surface. You're on the surface of all of it. The other thing is when you wake up every day and you manifest from this signal, when you think about the pain, when you think about your diagnosis, when I am this or I have this, when you do that day in and day out, there's a lot of energy around that. And there's a lot of momentum around that you need to start creating space from. You need to start unhinging yourself from. And that's going to take a little bit of time. Remember, the energetic and the physical need time to come together. The energetic needs time to break down. So you've got to create new belief systems. You have to create a new identity. You have to create a new way of thinking and feeling and believing. And because of that, most people think they can't do it on their own, that they have to have these outside sources. And a lot of times these outside sources, yes, they do help and they can heal, but not if you're in a place of not receiving them. So all the medicine in the world, it may make you feel better, but the symptomatic stuff that's going on underneath is what I'm talking about. On my show, The Goldyn Hour, on Thursday, I am super excited to have my friend Josh. He's a chiropractor. He actually trains other chiropractors. He's absolutely incredible. We're going to talk about your ability to heal that physical body and what you have control over and the modalities and techniques that he shares that allows you to step into your alignment with health. So stay tuned for that. I'm going to get a lot deeper in that conversation when we're talking about ailments and things like pain or autoimmune stuff, things that you may have believed like you're going to have forever. I'm going to have a conversation with him that's going to help you with that. So tune into the Goldyn Hour on Thursday at noon. Just going to grab a drink. But today, I want to dive deeper into the physical body and weight gain and not being in the perfect physical body. Now, I have a lot of women out there. I am talking to you men as well, but I'm probably going to talk more to women because I am a woman and because we have been programmed in a certain way for a very long time about our bodies and what happens to them as we get older. For men, you guys, I swear and I say this all the time and I'm not saying it because I'm a victim, but it's unfreaking fair. All you guys have to do is like stop drinking alcohol and you drop 30 pounds. I've seen my husband do it several times. It's a lot easier for you guys to lose weight than it is for us women. And that may be a belief that I have, but I've got that evidence. That evidence has been shown to me time and time again. With women, what we have been programmed to believe is that we've got these hormones that are working against us, that as we get older, it gets harder. So I want you to step back and I want you to just kind of step back and think about the things that you have grown up with, the ideas, the programmings, the people around you and how they were treating their physical body. Now, I grew up in a family, exercise was not really a thing. We didn't really, like, we rode bikes, we did our thing. I was a very thin child. My mom always she kind of resented me for it, but she always said I had a really fast metabolism. I had a metabolism like my dad. Truth be told, I didn't really eat a lot. I wasn't a big eater when I was little. I don't know. And I was super active and I just had that metabolism where I was just a thin person. Well, as I got older and as I had kids, that kind of went away. I remember trying to lose weight. So as I started having kids, I was started to get a little more body conscious and I started to get a little more health conscious and I started working out. And I started to realize that if I built muscle, that I would be strong and fit and healthy. And that's what I really wanted to do. So over the course of the years, trying all these different things to lose weight, to gain weight, I realized I've got some programmings going on. I've got some things that I picked up from my childhood about losing weight and the way to lose them. So I was watching a special with Leanne Morgan. She's so funny. She has a special on Netflix. I think it's called something about every woman, but she's really funny. She's from Tennessee, and she's hysterical. And she has this whole thing about Dexatrim and how like Dexatrim was the way that we lost weight, and how basically her whole family was on speed at one point. And it's so funny because that's what we grew up with, right? Like take Dexatrim, you'll lose weight. There wasn't really this idea of health when I was growing up. Now I'm 50, you may have grown up in a different way, but there wasn't this idea of like walking and health and muscles and all of that. Like I wasn't tuned into that. So that's something that I've stepped into, but trying all these different programs. I watched my mother do every diet under the sun. She did the cabbage soup diet. Remember Suzanne Powder's "Stop the Insanity." I still say that because I feel like this weight loss journey is absolutely insanity when you are constantly trying to lose weight and you are never happy with your body. Your body cannot reflect a happy, healthy body when you are in this low level of misery of trying things, losing weight, gaining it back, gaining that plus some back. It can't do it. It just can't do it. And it sucks the life out of you. So I had a conversation, a little text conversation. I've had a couple of conversations in the last couple of days about weight loss and about not being happy with your body, and the detriment that it has in your life, the misery that creates in your life. Now, if you're overweight, if you're seriously obese and you're overweight, you're going to get a lot of things that are not going to help you to be joyful. A lot of those things have to do with, your health is going to start to decline if you are vastly overweight. I mean, they've proven that scientifically, right? Especially if you have fat within your organs, you're destined for heart attacks and heart disease and all of that. And I see people physically declining, knees, all of that, like having to get knee surgery, and then they get the knee surgery and their knees still aren't right. All of that has to do with this heavy weight. And I want you to understand what heavy weight is. So when you eat from your emotional field, when you never were taught on how to deal with your emotions, and instead you put food in to compact those emotions and not deal with them. When you eat food from this energy, the food becomes heavier and it becomes weight on your body because your energetic emotional field is heavy, it's dense, and you're not dealing with it. You got all this stuff going on underneath. So you have to start the healing journey. You got to start meditating. You got to start journaling, and you got to start dealing with your emotions and not eating from stress or depression or anxiety or hating yourself or whatever it is that draws you. It actually draws you and attracts you to the low vibrational foods, sugar. We're all just trying to seek some sort of good feeling, some sort of pleasure. And if you're doing it just from food, like if that's your thing, food, alcohol, dope, whatever, weed, whatever it is, if you're doing that, you're going to keep yourself stuck. You're going to keep yourself from expanding and growing because you're not dealing with what's really underneath. And then you're going to be subject to reactions and living from wounds and triggers. So we don't want to do that. So understand that the food that you put into your body, it's not necessarily what that food is made up of, but it's how you're feeling when you ingest it that actually causes it to be on your body. Now, many of us believe if we have ice cream or we have cake or we have sugar or whatever it is, many of us believe, oh my gosh, I'm going to gain weight. And then that sets us up for a cycle of guilt and shame. And guess what guilt and shame does? It lowers your vibration. So it was funny. I was talking to a friend recently and I was like, I forget what they were saying something about, oh yeah, I did this. And I was like, oh yeah, I ate a 5-pound bag of gummy bears. True story, actually. Ate a 5-pound bag of gummy bears, my husband and I, and my daughter over the weekend because we were traveling and moving. And what do you do when you're moving? You try to feel better. You're trying to get sugar to get the energy to help you feel better. And sugar is like the devil, right? Like that's the belief that that sugar is like the densest part of the plant, which is similar to cocaine. And it drives all these chemicals and hormones that actually age us and wreak havoc in our systems, right? Our blood sugars go crazy. We crash. Then we have, personality issues because we're crashing. I don't have the same relationship with sugar as that. I know that it's not necessarily good for me, but if I eat sugar, and I feel better, then I'm okay with that. And I don't beat myself up or guilt shame myself because I know that that's just going to cause that energy to be even heavier in my body. So I've realized since I've been doing this, I've got this 3-pound weight gain and loss every week, like all the time. I'm like either up or down. And I've realized that I'm doing this. Like I am manifesting being in a body that is not beating itself up, not eating for emotions, not putting all this dense, heavy energy inside of myself. And because of that, I'm able to not really gain weight or beat myself up. And I was talking to a friend the other day and she said, "Oh, it's because you have a lot of muscle." And I'm like, "Yeah, that's true. I do. I carry a lot of muscle. My husband and I have trained for a couple of years, just, really, we really want to keep the muscle. Like that's super important to us. We want to be fit. We want to be healthy. We want to be strong." So that's true because the muscle actually creates a stronger metabolism. It actually will eat up these foods a lot faster than if I was just sitting on my butt all the time. Truth. But when I'm eating foods that aren't necessarily good for me, there's an energetic flow that allows it to be digested optimally. And that's the whole message of this show is what are you doing this from? Like, what is your intentional energy? What are you setting your energy field up for when you are ingesting food? What is your relationship to food? Remember, we did this thing with like, what is our relationship to time? What is your relationship to food? Do you have beliefs about it that are creating heavy, dense energy, or are you using it to not deal with your emotional field? That's the biggest piece of this when it comes to weight loss or weight gain or the belief that you're going to do either or is what are you doing with food? Now, I have lots of people in my life that if they don't exercise, they totally believe they're going to get fat. And to me, like if you look at like the science of it, it's like 95% of our diet really signifies what's going to happen in our bodies. But that muscle build is also going to signify what happens. So we can rest, we can take time from exercise, we can enjoy our lives and not feel like so regimented that we have to work out 7 days a week because we're not allowing our bodies to rest and restore the ebb and flows of life. So if you're looking to improve your physical body, start with this. Every time you look in the mirror, every time you walk by the mirror or you look at yourself and you spin a self-critical signal, you are keeping yourself in the physical body that you keep saying you don't want. Every time you decide to allow your mind to talk you out of doing things that are going to promote health, that means exercising. Keep in mind, if you're not moving your physical body and exercising, you are depleting your natural resources that elevate your vibration, which is the serotonin, the dopamine, all of the beautiful, wonderful downloads that we get, spiking our metabolism, telling our body that we love it. All of the signals that you could be sending to your body are being taken advantage of. You're taking them for granted. And when we take things for granted like that, it doesn't allow for us to live the fullest scope of our energy, of our energy body. We are energy. We are the expression of all that is. We have infinite potential and infinite energy expressing through us. So if you keep telling yourself you're too tired to exercise, that's a story that needs to go if you want to change your physical body. You have to start doing it and stop letting your mind talk you out of it. Now, one of the other ways, looking at your programmings, what you grew up with, what the belief systems were about the body and how you lose weight and how you should lose weight or what you should look like, you got to look at those things. That's number one. Journal a bunch of those belief systems out and start recognizing when you are in those low-level belief systems and you are creating from them. That's number one. Then these stories usually came from your mom or your siblings, could have came from your dad or your peers or just influential people, adults around you, and how they navigated their physical body and what they did to be in optimal health or what they didn't do to be in optimal health. So those were all signals that you were set up with that you have the ability to change. So which ones do you still have today from that So some of the ones that I have, and you may have the same ones, because they're kind of rampant in our society. For women, it's very hard to lose weight after 40. And I remember my mom definitely telling me that. And I know there's like a million things. And I don't know if it's because I'm over 40. I get these messages and ads on Instagram and Facebook. You know, menopause, once you hit menopause, your estrogen spikes, you can't lose weight. There's all these driving factors. And I do believe in the chemical part of it. I do. I believe in the hormones. I believe in the chemicals, but I'm not going to believe a story that tells me that I am powerless against this and that I have to look outside of myself to rebalance myself, because we have the ability to heal energetically within. Now, are there answers that you could get from working with other people? Sure. I've done lots of stuff like that. But when it came down to it, I just realized like what I believe is really what's important, because that's the signal that you're sending back. So for the longest time, I've said like, I'm not doing the menopause thing. I'm not doing it. I'm just not doing it. I'm not going to do it because I don't want to do it. Right. But then you start to have a little bit of physical symptoms, and then you're like, oh, wait a second. And what I've realized is those physical symptoms are mine to judge and create belief systems around. So what we focus on expands. So with each one of those things, if I just like, I'm just nonchalant about them, they don't become a factor in my life that has to be fixed. Now that's mind training, and that's a lot of mastery comes into that. The other piece of that is deciding that there's something wrong with you. And this goes with anything you've been diagnosed with as well. When we constantly push this idea, this belief, this energy that there's something wrong with us and we need to find a solution for it, then we really screw ourselves. Because then every day, what's the signal you're sending? There's something wrong with me. There's something wrong with me. I have to figure this out. That's problem energy. And you're not going to find solutions, and you're not going to be in the vibration of solution from that energy. Okay, so we really never, a healthy mindset was never really taught as far as like what really creates a healthy body. Addiction to food is an addiction to dopamine, and we have to release that to get away from it. So if you give up sugar for a couple of days, you're going to crave it. But okay, this is the thing about giving things up. Anything that you do to the extreme where you really are detrimental to yourself, you're going to end up binging on the other side. And that's why when women diet, which has the word die in it, by the way, when men diet, then they end up gaining more weight back because they never dealt with the emotional or the energetic weight. So they did this extreme thing. They lost a bunch of weight. Then they started eating normally again, and they started feeding their emotions again, and then they gained even more weight. That is a cycle, and that cycle does not serve you. Underneath that cycle as well is the self-critical nature of you beating yourself up time and time again. When you do gain the weight back, you solidify that heavy energy by beating yourself up. So we got to get off the roller coaster. We got to step off the roller coaster, and we have to first embrace the body that we have. Now, no matter what your weight is, no matter where you are physically and emotionally, you have the ability to do this. It's to stop and interrupting that shitty committee that keeps telling you that you're fat and you're ugly and you're not worthy of love, or whatever the story is that you have going on. It's that story of every time you walk by the mirror and you go, I'm not happy with my body. I remember, and it wasn't too long ago, probably last year, maybe. Yeah, last year. Last year was when I started to like really notice this and started to let go of it, because the obsession was insane. I was beating myself up 6 days a week, going to the gym. And if you've been listening to me for a while, you know I'm doing HIIT workouts. Like I'm burning like 600-700 calories a workout. My body was exhausted, and I wasn't resting enough. And my diet, I was like tracking all of my food, and there was just this obsession with like looking a certain way. And I started to realize that that wasn't loving myself, that wasn't respecting myself, and that wasn't actually leading me to the healthiest body that I could have. So I started to unravel that, and to starting to let it go, and started to decide I want to be healthy, but I also want to be happy. I want to be happy. And I don't want to super deprive myself for 6 weeks and then fall off the wagon and binge for the next 6 weeks. Like that just seemed like a silly cycle. So now it's about health. Now it's about eating what fuels my body, but also allowing myself to have things sometimes. The 5 pounds of gummy bears, I wouldn't recommend that. That didn't, and actually the funny thing about that, so I've had a little gummy bear addiction for a couple months now. And I would just keep them in my glove box. And when I wasn't feeling like a lot of energy that I'll call overwhelmment, because I started the TV show and there was a lot of like stress and overwhelmment and I was out of my comfort zone. When I wasn't doing that, I was really good with the gummy bears. Like I literally would eat the 9 that they say you can have in a serving. And that was my treat every day. And I was like, I got this. I'm all dialed in. I got it figured out. I'm treating myself and I'm not abusing it. And then once stress started to hit, I would go back 2 or 3 times for a 9 serving of gummy. And then I stopped counting. And then this weekend, I bought this giant bag because we were traveling and we were going to be doing all this stressful stuff. And I think we burned it out. I think we're not going to do that anymore. I think we did so much of it that we're like, oh, I don't even want those anymore. Like it's like when you drink too much of a certain alcohol and you get really hungover and then you never drink it again. I think that's what just happened. So it's not that I'm giving it up. It's that I'm deciding that I want to be healthy, that I want to be healthier, that I don't want my body run on sugar like that because first of all, I don't like the way it feels. After a little while, you start to notice that you're getting these spikes in your energy, and I don't like that. And I also don't like anything that I feel like has power over me that I'm saying I'm not going to do and I still do it. I don't like that. So if you're doing that with a lot of things in your life, it's time to just like cleanse it out. I love to do a cleanse every year where I'm just kind of like, oh, I'm not going to do that right now. I'm going to just like take a minute. I'm going to take a break. I'm going to bring it back. Just bring it back. I'm going to bring it back for like a week or 2. I'm just going to bring it back and I'm going to allow myself to come back into alignment with healthy eating and feeling good about myself and where I need to be. That is what promotes a healthy body. It's not being so extreme and so crazy. I was actually just talking to a gentleman. He is also going to be on my show, Luke. I'm really excited about him because he was explaining to me how people go into this thing like gangbusters. Like they'll say, I'm going to go to the gym and I'm going to work out and I'm going to do a diet, and they take on too much. And there's too much intensity for the frequency that they're at. That's how he explained it. And I loved it. And I was saying how we have to create a foundation first. We got to create a foundation of change, of identity creation, of realizing that what we're doing is creating the same scenarios, just like Susan Powder. We got to stop the insanity, right? Insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. And we've got to connect with our emotional fields to find out what is the basis of why I'm doing this and how can I release this energy so that I am attracted to lighter foods. I'm attracted to a higher vibrational, energetic, nutritional outline instead of the sugar and the ice cream and all the things that I'm just ingesting that aren't necessarily making me feel like the best. Even though I don't beat myself up about these things, I really don't. Like I literally will have like an ice cream and wake up the next day like I didn't even do it. And I think that is a huge piece of, but I'm not doing it from an energetic standpoint. I'm not doing it to push down emotions. The gummy bears, yes, that was a little bit of relief from stress. But as far as like anything else I do in my life, French fries, whatever it is, there's not this, I did bad today, I did good today. There's none of that. Because if you do that, think about the signal that you're sending to your body. That signal that you send to your body creates weight because your belief system is, if I eat those French fries, I'm going to gain 10 pounds. And then you end up doing it. So, okay, so when we are eating from our emotional fields, stress, sadness, powerlessness, and sadness, we are actually ingesting the energy of what we are looking not to feel. Crazy. That's crazy. Oh my goodness. By eating instead of allowing ourselves to feel, we create another problem that will add more stress and more sadness into our lives. So it's true. It's very true that the energy of what you're ingesting and how you're feeling when you're bringing it into your body will absolutely determine how it's digested and processed because it's a signaling, because we're sending the signal. This is a systematic problem that continues cycles in your life that keeps you heavy and gaining more weight year after year. Programming about your hormones and weight loss is an atrocious cycle that keeps us searching for answers that we will never solve. So when you start saying things like, there's nothing I can do, I've tried everything, I'm in menopause, blah, blah, blah. All of those things are keeping you where you're at. So I've shared with people that I've gained weight. I've gained 10 pounds every decade since I was 20. I was 120 in my 20s. I was 130 in my 30s. I was 140 in my 40s, and I'm 150 in my 50s. I know, it's crazy. And part of that is because I've created a lot of muscle. And in my 40s, that's when I really started to like weight train and really build muscle. So muscle weighs more than fat. So because of that, I do have a strong muscular structure. But I'm like, if this continues, I'm going to be like 200 pounds by the time I'm 80, right? Like, this is insanity. So what I've realized in all of that is that if I can just stay true to a healthy lifestyle where I am doing my best and I am loving myself and I am ingesting foods that feel good, that I have a good story about, right? Like, I have a good signal to them. If I eat a dessert, it's usually a bite or two because I'm not doing it from an emotional field. I'm not doing it to feel better. I'm just doing it because I want the sweet flavor, right? Like, I just want to have that pleasure on my tongue. When you do it that way, you do it a lot less, and then you don't have these big weight gains over time because you're not doing it from a heavy place. Okay, because we are often in the problem, searching, trying to lose weight, gaining it back, we solidify the belief systems that we can't lose weight and we are destined to be unhappy with ourselves. So then we try all sorts of things to be back where we were, worse off, and swearing that nothing works. One of the troubles is we're trying to get back to our 20-year-old bodies. And truth be told, that baby's gone. It's gone. We have the ability to create beautiful, strong, healthy physical bodies now, but they will not look like our 20-year-old bodies. They won't. It's the fact. And once I realized that, I started to love myself more. I started to realize, you know what? I'm 50. I'm 50 and it's fine. I feel amazing. I look great. What am I doing? Why am I on this beating my body every day, trying to be something I'm not? Why am I doing that? So once you start to recognize those things and start taking care of yourself, spending time walking in nature, spending time being physical, creating some muscular structure, you will let that stuff go because it's an old story. It's an old programming that we have to look a certain way to feel a certain way. If you really want to feel good, you have to embrace where you are right now, be excited for what's coming, and start getting off your butt. Yeah, you got to get off your butt. And you got to start some sort of exercise. And I already explained this, but I'm going to say it again. Because of the chemical hormones and downloads and the things that happen when we exercise, we get a high. And that high is gold. That's currency in our lives. And that high keeps us from beating ourselves up. It keeps us from telling a story of, we're not doing what we're supposed to be doing. And it keeps us at a vibration where we're like, I got that dialed in. I got the exercise program dialed in. So now I'm going to look at my food, and now I'm going to look at my emotions. And now I'm going to place myself in the most optimal place in this universe to have the greatest physical body and to feel really good about it. It's up to you, baby. Like, it's a decision that you make, and your mind is going to fight you. It's going to fight you on this. And it's going to fight you for a long time. My mind will still be like, you don't want to exercise. You don't have time for that. Always. So you have to override the mind. I've been on like a little sabbatical with exercise the last couple of weeks. My husband's been working super hard, doing some demo work, and kind of got into this thing where I don't want to go to the gym without him and the TV show. So the TV show has been taking some time. And so now I have to make a decision, and I have to recommit to the health that I want to experience, to keep the muscle that I have and to promote that feeling of I'm doing my best. I'm doing my absolute best. So you will never regret exercising. No, you'll never leave the gym and go, oh God, I wish I didn't do that. You won't do it. So if you can get yourself from that point where you can just get yourself in front of that gym door or get yourself in front of, a walking trail or something, once you do it, you won't ever regret it. So when you're there, when you're experiencing this idea of exercise, building muscle is the greatest metabolizer and supports the times that you would like to indulge. And it kind of gives you a pass not to be a fool with food, not to be emotionally eating your emotions, but to sometimes say, yeah, I'm going to do that. And it's no big deal. And it's not going to show up anywhere because I've got everything dialed in. I got it all dialed in. I got the muscle, I got the metabolism, I got it all set. These are the new stories that we need to start telling so that we're not in this low level of believing we are powerless against this. Eat the foods that make you feel the best. Is that so hard? Eat the foods that make you feel really make you feel the best. Like, think about this. And I don't know if this happens to you, but it definitely happens to me. When I eat pancakes, when I eat a pancake, I have not eaten a pancake in, actually I had a couple of bites recently when I was in Palm Springs. I wanted a nap and I was starving. So one thing I know about my body, and it might be different for yours, is when I get high sugar foods like that, when I get high carbohydrate foods like that are processed like pancakes, they digest so fast that I end up feeling like I'm starving. They also turn off like that leptin thing that tells you when you're done eating, like being full. So I don't eat pancakes. I really don't as a rule. And the last time before that I ate a pancake, I got really kind of sick from it. So I don't do that. So look at the foods and what they do to you about 20 to 25 minutes after, and you're going to find out the foods that are not promoting your health or your energy field. And usually those are very carb centered, but it really depends on your body and how you process things. I personally need carbs in my diet, but certain ones. Like, I'm not good with bread. I'm not good with pancakes. I'm really not good with a lot of anything with gluten in it. But rice, I'm good. Gluten-free pasta, I'm good. But all within the balance, right? Fruits and vegetables are always best. And once you start changing the way that you eat and the way that you decide what is going to bring health to you, you actually start craving that stuff. Like, I want fruit more than I want gummy bears today because I made a decision this morning that that's not happening anymore. All right, so start deciding who you want to be and be that person by making just a few, one or two small commitments, and then elevating it once you've mastered those. So a small commitment, like maybe it's like drinking more water. I drink like 4 of these a day. I just got this freaking adorable water bottle. Get yourself an adorable water bottle. Like, I'm so happy to like carry this thing around, but you will always see me with this. Very rarely do I not have water on me. And if I don't, I'm thirsty within 10 minutes because my body is so used to it. I also believe that drinking lots of water is why I look so young. People are always amazed when I say I'm 50. Part of it is because I'm happy and I live a positive life. But a lot of it, I think, is because I have hydrated my body so well. And I've done that for like, I don't know, 20 years. I have always had a bottle on me. So drink lots of water. Maybe that's one thing you can do. The second thing I really feel like is imperative is to move your physical body and don't take it for granted. Set yourself up. A 30-minute walk will even change your life. We were doing the paleo thing for a while, and their exercise plan is like really minimal. And I started walking, and I was walking like 4 to 5 miles a day. I was in such great shape. Like, we take walking like we don't understand, like walking is so powerful because it's like everything, right? If you're really good at walking and you're really strong at walking, you're going to have a better life. You really are. So walking is one great way. You don't have to join a gym. Get yourself out in nature because there's benefits there as well. And then work on some muscle stuff, whether you get some weights on your own, watch some YouTube videos. I mean, there's so much stuff out there. Or yoga. Yoga is really good for building muscle. But do the things that are going to actually tell your body that you love and respect it. Do the things that are going to cause you to go, I love myself too much to eat that crap any longer, right? I love myself too much. I respect myself too much to ingest poison. I respect myself too much to put drugs in my body that are going to alter my brain and confuse me, not cause clarity, and not allow me to be a strong manifester. It's all about respecting and loving yourself, because you're not loving yourself when you're putting a bunch of junk in your body or trying not to deal with your emotional field. You're not loving yourself. You're just covering up wounds that are going to continue to create crappy cycles in your life. All right, so this is what happens when you start to feel better. You start to create better. When you start to feel better, you start to create better. It's absolutely phenomenal how this happens. So once you start exercising, you start feeling a little better. Once you start letting go of food guilt and you start, promoting a healthy, okay, what am I going to eat today that's going to make me feel my very best? That's intuitive eating. That works really well for me. What energetically do I need right now? Do I need chocolate cake right now? Or is that just going to like push down the emotions and make me feel worse after? Always, always, always take yourself after the experience. I do that with a lot of things. I do that with exercise. Now, I'm a person who loves to sweat. I've just realized this recently. I love a good sweat. And I think I love the sweat because it tells me a couple things. It tells me that I worked hard. It tells me that I detoxed a bunch of stuff out of my body. It tells me that my physical body is strong and healthy and I can do hard things. So I love sweating. Not everybody loves to sweat. But if you can take yourself after exercise and those happy high hormones. Now, there's a trick here. And I worked with a client on this and she would say, I don't really feel that good after I exercise. And I was like, what the hell? Like, what do you mean? How is that even possible? Because you're going to have like hormones download that are serotonin is going to be there. It's going to be your friend. And it turns out she didn't like exercising. So the whole time, like she was going into exercise and the whole time she was exercising, she had this low level vibration of thoughts. So guess what? It turned off the signal to her body to download the good hormones that would actually help her release weight. And it actually stagnated the process. So then she didn't feel good after. Well, guess what happens when you don't feel good? You're not really likely to do it again. So in order to actually feel good, you got to be excited about it. You got to tell yourself all the powerful stories like this is going to build muscle and my metabolism and I'm going to be better at digesting and I'm going to sleep better and all those things. Coming into exercise and doing the exercise and doing your best, coming out of it, taking all of those amazing feelings and allowing it to motivate and inspire the rest of your life. Because especially when you do this first thing in the morning, you're in it to win it. You feel so good. Also, if you do it first thing in the morning, things won't get in the way. So if you just get up, you get it done, it's done. The rest of the day is yours. And then you've checked that box off and you don't have to be miserable because you didn't exercise or feel guilty because you pushed it off to the end of the day and you didn't end up having time or feeling like it, right? Energetically, you're best first thing in the morning. Whether you're a morning person or not, you can train yourself to be one. So that is a great tip. First thing in the morning will give you the most optimal success. So that is my very long-winded conversation about your physical body. The truth of the matter is you are a powerful creator and everything you think and believe is sending a signal. And that signal is drawing things back to you. It's either drawing unhealthy foods and unhealthy attitudes and unhealthy energies, or you're calling in the healthy energies and signals of, I love myself. I respect myself. I'm in this physical body and I don't take it for granted. I look in that mirror and I say, you go. You're on your way. You're doing your best. It's just getting better from here. And interrupting that self-critical stuff, the guilt, the shame, whatever you grew up with, the body shaming, whatever, and getting yourself in a better place. Because once you start to feel better, you're going to look better. I promise. Once you feel better, you look better. And once you start to look better, then you have confidence and then you want to do more and you want to express more life and you want to be a part of things and you'll get yourself out of whatever rut or stagnation or low level belief system you've been in up until now. It's all up to you. But the greatest thing that we can do is create joy in all of our experiences. Joy in our physical body, joy in our energetic body, joy in our spiritual body. That comes from the decisions we make about how we feel about ourselves. All right, guys, that's my show for today. I love you all. Peace.